It's Figure Friday. I am one of your hosts, E.A. Henson, joined alongside with a fellow Figure Friday writer, Josh Wallen. Josh, how you doing?
Eric, I'm spectacular. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. This is a little weird. We're recording like via a live stream, so I had to make myself presentable for the camera if this thing actually does end up going up. So
You
that
never
means,
know.
you know, taking a shower and shaving these days.
Very much so. Yeah.
So, in what's becoming a tradition, we are doing an end of year Figure Friday to pretty much get out of writing a column.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's easier to talk for an hour than it is to actually sit down and put digital pen to digital paper and, you know, make coherent thoughts for a change. So I'm not mad about that. You were kind enough to put together a running order for the
Indeed.
show. Do you have anything to say right off the jump? You coming in hot?
No, I'm really excited to chit chat about the year in figures and pop culture. So yeah,
Give
this
me
will
an
be fun.
overview. How has the year been, like figure wise, for you or toy wise?
So figure wise for me overall, it's been a decent year. I've tried to curb back the second half of the year from buying so much. I think I've kind of drawn the line in the sand that they're flooding the market so much, and with prices going up as much as they are, that really needs to be a decent product for me to invest in, or I need to be getting it at a price that I want to pay, or some sort of combination on the both that I get comfortable with. So I've been going crazy as far as Black Friday deals are concerned because I passed on so many items until they hit the price point that I was happy with. So caked up. I'm looking forward to having an exciting Christmas morning of treating myself. So it'll be good times.
Nice. So getting right into it, we're going to start with our top three figures that were bought in 2022. If you want to kick us off, I went 3-1. Like I
Okay.
actually made a concerted effort to actually kind of have an idea of where I was going with this.
It's your own list, so make it what you will. So you want to start us off with your number three?
I will do that. My number three, I put down Transformers Core Class Studio Series 86 Rumble for
Ah,
my number three. I was looking forward to this figure and I was pleasantly surprised by it. Uh, just the entire Studio Series line from Transformers right now is fantastic, as well as like the core class. Like you really are getting that bang for your buck, as it were. Like just with the price point and the quality of figures you're getting, it was almost a tie between that and the Studio Series Core Class 86 Wheelie, because that,
okay.
that was another great one. But with the Studio Series Rumble, it's just a fantastic like realization of the character, and it's incredibly wee. It's like maybe 2 inches tops, which is amazing, and turns into a little cassette. He comes with the pistons on his arms that you can actually put on to make it look like he's doing the earthquake thing, and it does say Rumble parenthetical blue, so it's because there's an old Transformers meme that, yes, there he is right there,
There he is right there.
holding him up to the camera. Did you buy two? Are you unboxing them or?
Oh, he's getting unboxed. So this is my giant pile of Christmas treats for myself. So,
Okay.
but he's made the cut. So I'm excited to get Rumble out of the box eventually.
Yeah, I am going to put my flag down right now and say I really hope that they reuse the mold and it's Hasbro, so they're definitely going to. Uh, so we're gonna get like a frenzy. We're probably gonna get like a rewind and eject on the Autobot side of things. Just whatever they decide to repaint it as, I'm totally down to buy. And also,
I
it's even though it says he's blue, he is kind of purple, which is in line with Rumble from the Cybertronic Spree, which I appreciate.
get a little maybe I can 3D print a little drum kit for him.
That would be amazing. That would
Yeah,
be
I
that
think
would be
that'd be exciting. I love. I haven't bought as many Transformers as you. Transformers is kind of your jam, but I have dipped my toe in the Studio Series 86 on more than one occasion, and I'm very very happy every time that I do. So they could just keep releasing them, the 86 line, and I'll probably keep buying them. Uh, I haven't bought every single one, but the ones that I have picked up, like Soundwave, or not sound no, who is it? I got Grimlock from the 86 line. So
Maybe
uh,
Blaster.
Blaster, and I got Cup and Blur
Hmm.
on discount, and I also picked up the Coronation Starscream, which I was really happy with. So
Yeah,
uh,
I've been fairly exacting with the ones that I purchased. Like I can't financially afford to get all the ones. Like I've stayed away from like the $50 price point, which I think is the leader class maybe.
yeah,
So I'll kind of top out right around like the $30-$35 mark for those. And then we have a discount chain in the area, Ollie's. They've been a good resource for actually picking up some of the overstock stuff for next to nothing.
yeah, it's a decent line to get into if you're looking to find something nostalgic for Gen 1, the Transformers 86 movie. So highly recommend those whenever you see one that catches your eye.
Yeah, they're definitely playing to guys, like us, the guys in their 40s. So, and I'm not mad at it because I'm finally getting versions of the figures that I've wanted for, 40 years now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So, what do you got for your number three?
All right, so my number 3, I'm cheating right off the bat. So coming in hot from that standpoint, my number 3 of 2022 is the entire GI Joe classified line,
Oh, wow,
because
that's a big cheat.
like top to bottom, all throughout this entire year, they have released quality product. I could vividly remember you and I having a conversation about uh, the very, very first classified wave and how it was like, I wish they would look a little bit more like the traditional GI Joe, like a Real American Hero line.
Hmm.
And it feels like they've really found what the perfect combination of what's classified look like, what's Real American Hero look like, and just the chemistry on that line is perfect. Everything about it, every time I buy one of those figures, I have just immense joy going through the unboxing and taking all the little details and the loadout on those figures and putting them on a shelf and just getting them in different poses. This year's releases, you got the Bats, the Alley Vipers. We finally got a classic Storm Shadow, Spirit Iron Knife, the Cobra Officers, Outback, the Python Patrol Vipers, Crocmaster and Fiona, Dr. Mindbetter, Serpentor, Tomax and Zaymot, Sergeant Slaughter, Zorana, Dusty, Stalker, the Crimson Guard, the Blue Ninjas 2-pack, and a Snake Eyes and Timber 2-pack that's a re-release, but they put it in Renegades form now. And
Mm.
then if you really want to get technical, some that were supposed to be 2023 are hitting early in Bazooka, Recondo, and Covergirl. None of those figures are just like passable. They're all must buys if you're a fan of the GI Joe classified line. Phenomenal. I love it.
Yeah, you've really gone all in on the line. And for me, I'm kind of a fair weather G.I. Joe fan. When the line came out, I picked up my Snake Eyes. I was happy with it. And then maybe this year, I think I was able to get my hands on a Bat, which is a great figure.
Yeah.
And I saw the repaint of that in the wild at Target. Didn't do much for me, but
Mm-hmm.
the people that love the line really love it. And it's impressive that Hasbro, I'm not going to say G.I. Joe was a dead property. It never really was. There was always some kind of G.I. Joe presence on the
Yeah.
shelf, but they successfully evolved into the 6-inch scale for that, adult collector, the guys like us in their 40s that are still buying toys.
Yeah, I think for me, the reason I love the line so much was when I was a kid, I didn't have as many of the figures
Hmm.
compared to I played with the vehicles, if that makes sense. So, like, you only had as many figures as you needed to go with the vehicles.
Hmm.
And I would watch the cartoons, but I never had like my favorite characters. I never had like a Quick Kick. I never had a Snake Eyes as a
Same,
kid.
same.
So for me, now going back and getting to revisit the character side of things in like a perfect, put it on your shelf type, collectible is just, it'd be nice to have the vehicles, but you really don't need the vehicles, to enjoy the classified line. So,
Now I'm
uh,
really going to show my ignorance here. The Sky Striker that they
mhm.
crowdfunded, is that a 6-inch scale or is it?
No,
Okay, it's 3 3/4.
yeah, 3 3/4, not just 3 3/4, but I think a lot of the figures that came with it were the first variations of the O-rings that they're bringing back. So they're getting
Okay.
rid of like their what they were trying to do before with the 3 3/4, and they're going back to the O-rings altogether. So I know the Sky Striker is getting ready to ship. That looks awesome. I backed the Hiss tank, so that's going to be one of my most anticipated things from 2023. It looks phenomenal. The figures in that all look great. So they can do no wrong. They keep catering to fans, and we keep ponying up the money for it. So happy to do so.
Yeah, and like I think I may have an unconscious GI Joe bias because when I was a kid, my mom never bought me GI Joe toys until they were almost not cool. Like when they
Yeah,
started getting a little more sci-fi, but she had a moral objection to war toys. But Star Wars, it was okay. And Transformers were robots, even though they were fighting a civil war. But she didn't do her research. But like GI Joe, she knew that it was closely associated with war, which she wasn't cool with.
you
So
couldn't play the video of them using the laser weapons and just look. It's totally sci-fi. It's not
yeah,
real.
yeah. Just I didn't have my arguing skills at that point
Yeah.
in my youth. So I finally got some. Like I got like a Doctor Mindbender. I think I got a Footloose and a couple other guys. I got the Destro that had the vac metalized gold head.
Yeah, the Iron Grenadier or
Yeah.
Grenadier, whatever it was.
Yep, got that guy. Like, but by that point, like nobody, like we'd all kind of transitioned over to Turtles. So,
Yep, exactly.
so let's see. My number two, and I know for sure that you have this one. It's the SH Fig Arts Luke Skywalker from The Mandalorian,
Ah, yes. Very good
which
figure.
fantastic figure. I have the original. It's like one of the original Star Wars fig arts that they did, the throne room Jedi Luke, and this version of it kind of improves upon that one in every single way. The face is better, the costume, the articulation's better. It's just the only thing I wasn't happy with completely is the cape. The cape was kind of cheap,
Oh, okay.
but in my opinion, like it just I think they could have used like maybe a heavier grade fabric for it, especially since well, we didn't pay anywhere near US prices for it because we ordered it off of Amazon Japan,
Mm-hmm.
which I was ready to go all in with Amazon Japan and start ordering all my import figures from them. But we'll get to it in my anticipated figures for next year, uh, they still don't have those figures that I'm going to talk about later. They still don't have those up for order on the Amazon Japan website. So I've pre-ordered those ones domestically. But
Yeah.
yeah, somehow the face sculpt on this one looks better than Luke Skywalker did in The Mandalorian. Not, uh, he looked better in Book of Boba Fett, but just the entire vibe of the figure is just fantastic.
Yeah, I would agree. He's everything you want. He's the definitive version of Luke Skywalker from, the Jedi type era or post Jedi era, as it were, since being in the Mandalorian. But great figure. Wish they'd have given you a couple more head sculpts,
Yeah.
but that seems to be SH Figuarts MO. I'd love to see more of like what Mezco 112 would do with, like, more of a Star Wars license.
They
I
could do
think it'd be
something
phenomenal.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my whole collecting, like the thrust of my collecting is getting definitive versions of characters.
Yep.
So like I've been waiting forever. They haven't even released a prototype, so but they have to do it like the Bespin Luke. Like I've been waiting
Yeah.
for that one for like 10 years now, it feels like. But when The Mandalorian came out, like the first episode, you could pre-order the Mandalorian how he looked in the first episode.
Hmm.
And then episode 2 rolls along and he gets a completely new set of armor.
Yeah.
And then, 6 months later you're able to pre-order that one. So it's just it's very Star Wars, very Disney. Like they're going to put out every version of the character and you're going to buy it.
Do you think, though, is it something that Favreau and Filoni are doing intentionally when they're doing things like that? Do you really think that they're, well, we can pump out another couple toys if we have just change his look a little bit?
No, I don't think they're doing it intentionally because it serves the story.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to say that like marketing's never mad at those guys.
See, and as well, maybe it's just from a standpoint that I'm looking mainly at what Hasbro does with the Black Series line,
Hmm.
but it feels like they leave a lot of money on the table in terms of that. So, like, from a marketing standpoint, I would be inclined to go with your line of thinking on that, but Hasbro isn't taking advantage of that. You could be pumping out OT toys, like they could have an entire separate line that's nothing but OT Star Wars Black Series toys, and people would go crazy with it. It could feed the rest of their lines, and they don't take advantage of what you seems like it would make more sense to do. So
There's probably some equation that we don't know about.
yeah,
It's like seconds of screen time versus online posts about this character. They have to make it make sense financially in order for them to do it, because uh, when the Book of Boba Fett rolled around, in spoilers for a year-old TV show, and Luke Skywalker's in that, he has a slightly different get-up when he's on whatever planet that is, where the Jedi Temple is going to be.
yep.
And I'm like, I could see them getting another figure out of that, even though it's just infinitesimally different than the one they released. But that's just me. So, but
Well, the Mandalorians had maybe 2, maybe 3 different looks, and Hasbro's released at least probably 8 figures of the Mandalorian in various incarnations. So
yeah, and Bandai Fig Arts, they're at 3, because they did the original one, they did the Beskar armor, and then they did deluxe Beskar armor, where he comes with the spear and he comes with a Grogu and an unmasked, head. So
did he come with the Darksaber?
did he?
I don't know, because there's like, hey, now we got to release one with a Darksaber as well, because it's another one.
I'm thinking I don't think he did. So
Yeah.
there's another one that they could possibly be doing, and when I say possibly, I mean definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's it. Number 2, Luke Skywalker from The Mandalorian. Fantastic figure. If you can get your hands on him, I recommend it. It was hard for us because when the figure went up for order domestically, like Big Bad Toy Store just put it out there and it sold out right away.
Mhm.
So Amazon Japan was really our only option. Like, I talked to my guy that runs the comic shop, and his importer got some and kept them all for himself. So I don't think a lot of people had a chance to get their hands on them. I looked on the secondary market, and they're holding pretty steady around the $100 mark. So we definitely got away with something this time.
Hey, Moshi Moshi, Amazon Japan, you're our only hope.
Ni hao ma. All right, so you're next.
My number 2 was the Four Horsemen Studios Headless Horseman from the Figura Obscura line of Mythic Legions.
Okay, I've seen a lot about that, but posts from you, posts from Dan Larson from Toy Galaxy. That is an amazing looking figure.
It was phenomenal. You talked about Luke Skywalker having a subpar cape or a subpar cloak, in your opinion. The Headless Horseman has the finest tailor in all of Sleepy Hollow, with an unbelievably luxurious cape, fully wired, nice red interior, black exterior, beautiful working mechanism where the clasp on the collar holds the whole thing in place. You get a nice little bloody stump there for where the head used to be, and he's got a few different flaming pumpkin jack-o'-lantern skulls. The horse is fabulous, and I mean it's all Mythic Legion reuse essentially, but there's a difference between Hasbro reusing a mold to make 15 million different stormtroopers and the Four Horsemen cobbling together something from various different figures across their line to create something entirely new and beautiful, and a piece of work, a piece of art unto itself. It's phenomenal. It was pricey, but once you have it in your collection and you're able to appreciate it for what it is, the Figure Obscura line has made me dive deeper into Mythic Legion. So mission accomplished from that standpoint. It's a phenomenal figure.
I think you're a lot more willing than I am to take chances on new stuff, because I saw it and I was like, not for me. But it, like, by all accounts, like I was saying, you and everybody else I've seen online, it seems like an amazing figure. So
I think you've really sold me though. Like, so you're not willing to take chances on a lot of things, but I think the thing that you've always sold me on, and it goes to you. I don't want to say that you're like comfortable with it, but you take certain amount of joy. You know the things that are going to bring you pleasure in a figure. I cast a wider net looking for those that same pleasure. I think is the only real difference. But just finding the things that truly make you happy in collecting, and when you find them, like if it costs a little bit more, I'm willing to get rid of a bunch of Marvel Legends in order to pay for something that's going to give me the type of experience that the figure Obscura line has given me this year, with not just the Headless Horseman, but they also put out an awesome Father Christmas. So
Okay. Yeah,
it's
and
awesome.
we'll talk about that, like the quality versus quantity in my next pick a little bit
Sure.
because like I was looking like when you proposed, like I actually had written down like a top 5, so I have a couple honorable mentions once we wrap up this segment, but um I was worried I hadn't bought enough figures to substantiate a list or figures that I was happy enough with to rank. So, yeah, it's an interesting debate because and it's, when I say quality, it's not a knock on any specific line or anything. Like it's just, and for my next choice, like my number one for this year was the Mafex or Mafex, depending on how you pronounce it, the Spider-Man in the black suit,
Okay. With the
which,
blue feet.
yep, with the blue feet, which is an amazing detail. And the figure also has a nice kind of subtle blue paint wash to it
Mm-hmm.
that you don't really see in any of the photos. Or if you do see it in the photos, it looks like it was photographed that way.
Yeah.
That's how good the paint app was. Um, Earlier in the year, I had the Marvel Legends retro Spider-Man black suit figure on pre-order, and that's like what, a $30 figure
Uh,
thereabouts.
I think that one was during the 22.99 cycle still.
Okay, so still low 20s. So, but I
Yeah.
was like, if I pay 3 times as much, I can get something that is in my estimation because the black costume Marvel Legends one, it's probably the best one that they've done. But I
Mm-hmm.
was going through my bins, and I have at least every subsequent Marvel Legend black costume Spider-Man prior to this one, and there just wasn't enough of to me. Is that one a pinless construction or no?
I believe it is. Yes.
Okay. For me, like I had one of the other pinless figures, and it just wasn't enough to sell me
Mm-hmm.
on another one, especially when I was making the investment in the black suit Spider-Man, which I lucked out on that one because I pre-ordered it before the inflation hit. So my price was a lower price than most retailers were offering. But still, it's just it is like I will never need another black costume Spider-Man figure. Like,
Exactly. And that's listen, perfect segue because my number one I feel the exact same way with,
okay,
uh, and that is the Mezco 112 steel box Wolverine.
really, that's your number one. That's interesting.
Absolutely, absolutely. What you get?
What was it that that drew you to the like? Is this your first 112?
It's not my first 112. My first 112 was actually, we discussed it on last year's show,
Okay.
was the Old Man Logan,
Oh,
that
right.
I had won in that giveaway.
Hmm.
And I told you, like, I was nervous about the slippery slope, and the slippery slope came a calling in the form of that beautiful, beautiful steel box offering. So it comes in a beautiful steel box, like a tin,
Hmm.
beautiful artwork on it of Wolverine. And in the box, you get the Sentinel display base, which lights up, and you can put Logan on it. It's phenomenal. It's truly everything in that box has the potential to be the centerpiece of your collection. And I saw I think it retailed for like 120 somewhere in there, but I saw it go down as low as, during like a Black Friday run. I think you could get it for less than $100. Phenomenal, phenomenal value. You have multiple belts to change up the look, so you never need another tiger stripe Wolverine in your collection. It's got multiple belts, multiple hands, it's got the bone claws, it's got steel claws. It has the old school, the first appearance Wolverine mask as one of the heads.
With the whiskers.
Yeah, it's got like, I think, 8 different heads. It's just, you'll never need another Wolverine figure if you're looking for a tiger stripe Wolverine. I'll never have to buy another one. There's nothing that Hasbro could potentially offer me that I don't already have in that figure. And as far as definitive versions of a character, that's the definitive Wolverine to me.
So for the Mezco 112 stuff, me personally, I am just right on the edge of, shit talking those things.
Mm,
And that springs from me wanting to talk myself out of having to invest in those
yeah,
because it's one of those, like the meme from Community. It's like, I'm worried this may awaken something in me. And
yeah.
like Biff Band Pop editor in chief, Andy Burns, he recently got um, I don't know if it's Christopher Reeve Superman, Mezco
Yeah,
112, but it's like a definitive Superman.
yeah.
And because he's a big Superman fan, and I think he may have pre-ordered the Steve Ditko Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man, which is also another amazing figure. But you know, I'm just like, I don't want, I don't want to collect dolls, because they have cloth outfits, but they're
Mm,
so much more. Like my buddy Dan went nuts on those for a while, and like, came home with like 5 of them from his store one day. So
yeah.
it was just, they're amazing figures, and it's just one of those things where I kind of have to mentally check myself to keep myself away from them.
They're But that's the thing. Like in compiling what I considered to be the figure of the year this year, going back and looking at so many toys. You know how many toys you forget that you bought during the course of the maybe it's a me problem because I'm a terrible consumer and I buy a ton of stuff. But there are a number of toys that I forgot I even bought this year or that like released. The black suit Spider-Man from Marvel Legends, like I had to like it's a great figure. Don't get me wrong. I love that figure. And when that figure first came out, it was probably my favorite figure of the year for the 15 minutes that it was out before I went on to the next thing. So it really has to be one of those type of characters or figures that you get in your hands that creates an emotional reaction with you that sustains it for longer than the next figure that comes out the following month. And I think in your situation, the Spider-Man, the Mezco Spider-Man that you picked, or the Mayfex Spider-Man that you picked up, and the Mezco 112 Wolverine, like it's all you need. If you're
Yeah.
that happy with your purchase, then that has to be your figure of the year.
Yeah, and a lot of it for me is like, I don't want to be exclusionary towards other collectors. Like if Marvel Legends is your jam, that's awesome. Like
Yes.
it's a great, like they've come so far in the last like 20 years. And but like just looking at that black suit Spider-Man, I'm like, this is a great figure, but I already have 3 other ones of it. It's going to wind up in a bin like
Mhm.
after a month. So that's just me talking. Like I have the, privilege to be able to, every now and again plunk down, a price for an import figure, and it looks great on my shelf. He's right next to the Ben Reilly Spider-Man, and we're going to talk about some other stuff that's coming up that'll be going next to it. So
Love it.
I do have some honorable mentions from
Please.
2022, and it's one of those things. Like I keep saying, I'm not collecting the line, but they do keep dropping weird figures out there that I have to get. It's Wondar from the Masters of the Universe line, and I was one of the golden chosen that was able to get it during that initial release that caused all
Okay.
the fan outcry. Like
Okay.
the stars aligned for me. I was able to actually order one. I should have ordered more than one, but I'm inherently lazy. I'm not going to go ahead and sell something on the secondary market. Like I only buy things off eBay now. I don't put stuff up for people, and also it's just kind of like I have issues with people that buy multiples to just for the purpose of reselling. Like I'm
Hmm.
on board with buy one to display, one to open, but one was all I need. It's a patently ridiculous figure. It's the Masters of the Universe. It's based on a Wonder Bread mail away from the early 80s. So it's He-Man with black armor, brown hair, and it's so silly that I had to have it. And
When you get something that is so tongue in cheek
mhm,
perfect, like when toy companies get it and they do something like Wondar, like it just makes me so happy because it's not going to cater to every single collector. Like the people who want that figure are the people who know the story of the figure, the completionists, and somebody like me who, yeah, I'm a big Motu fan. I love it, but I don't need it in my collection because it doesn't do anything for me. But the people who it connects with, like, I love that shit.
yeah,
That's my favorite.
I was like, this is the dumbest thing. I need to have
Yes,
it. And
absolutely.
like the only other ones that I've got from the line so far, I have Scareglow, which that was really tied into, the legend of the figure just being a late addition to the line and being so rare. And
Hmm.
also it's a glow in the dark skeleton. Who doesn't want that?
Yeah.
And then just recently I picked up an Orko because have positive memories of the original one that I had, which is just looks great on my shelf. I kept it on the card. I kind of wanted to see if I could get another one to open up and mess around with, but that'll do for now. So that's one of my honorable mentions. Did you have any? I didn't. I think I added this category after you sent me
I
the running
cheated
order.
with taking the entire GI Joe classified line, so that was kind of my lumped all the honorable mentions and just took the number 3 spot. So
The Star Wars Vintage Collection, I've actually bought a lot of those this year.
okay,
The Obi-Wan from that line from his Disney Plus series is a great, representation of the character.
is that the
Uh,
blue shirt one or the brown coat?
he's got a tan shirt, and I'm talking about the 375
Right,
figures.
right, right.
Um, can't remember. I think it's like Jedi Wanderer, Wandering Jedi.
Gotcha.
I love the aesthetics of the line, on the vintage card and everything. I still open them up, but it's just gives you that charge of actually going to the store and seeing something that you would have seen, 4 decades hence. I did pick up the Boba Fett that was the Target exclusive, and thankfully I didn't pay full price for that one because it was like I think they're asking like $25 or more
It's
for.
gross.
Yeah, I first saw it when I was over in Canada, and they wanted 40 Canadian for it, which
Yeah.
translated to like 30 US,
Yep.
and I couldn't figure out why because I thought it was a single carded version of a slightly different figure. But that one I picked up is really good, has a great sculpt to it. Got a couple other ones I'm forgetting, but those deserve an honorable mention. And the other one is the NECA TMNT Last Ronin figure. I picked that up. And
Nice.
I didn't include him on the list for a couple of issues I had sent you. I,
Hmm.
I put him on a NECA stand like as soon as I got it. The figure stands fine on its own, but I bought a package of NECA action figure stands a while back, so I just have a few of them sitting around. And I put them on there, and as soon as I tried to move them on the stand, the peg on the stand snapped off right at the base. So he's got a. I was able to file it down, but one of the peg holes on the bottom of one of his feet is completely inoperable right now, unless I want to Dremel it out, which I don't. Uh, the other thing is posability. Like the joints on it are so stiff, I'm almost afraid to force something. But it looks like it came right out of the comic book. Comes with a ton of accessories and multiple heads and everything. And there's a different unarmored version of the character that I'm kind of waiting to see if it goes on sale somewhere to pick that one up. But that was another one that I was really pleased with that I got just recently.
Did you see the spring not Leonardo turtle that is going around? The
No,
third party
maybe
where
I
it's
did.
okay. They're like samurai turtles is what they're calling them.
I think I
That
may
get around
have.
the Ninja Turtle license.
Yeah, like I saw a third party one that was really cool, and I can't remember what it was, and I bookmarked it, but then I lost the bookmark, so
Okay.
that may have been it.
Next time it crosses my timeline, I'll shoot it over to you to get your take on it. But it's this new little niche market that's putting out this third party not Leonardo figure that people are going crazy about. It looks really cool, but I'd be curious to get your take because you're Mr. TMNT, so I
I love
value
third
your
party
opinion.
stuff. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of great third party Transformer stuff out there. It's just it's not the most budget friendly.
Yep.
Like I kind of started getting into them a few years ago and had some quality issues here and there, but like everything good that Hasbro does, and this isn't a knock against their engineers, but a lot of the innovation kind of comes from third party stuff, is what
Hmm.
I find. Like I think they allow third party stuff to exist so that they can innovate.
Yep.
So it's a live and let live thing, which I'm appreciative of. And if there's ever like IDW, their run on the Transformers comics just ended, and it's just kind of they had a lot of like IDW specific third party characters that they did that were really cool.
Yeah.
So
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 on the subject of third party stuff, real quick,
mhm, mhm.
since we're talking about the independency, Super Action Stuff
Yeah.
puts out this little casket of cruelty,
Oh yeah, I saw
which
your
has all kinds of crazy little like blood effects So like
Nice.
bloody vomit and things like that. And you get like little circular saw. So you could do all kinds of crazy like horror type stuff. Um, Excellent company to do business with. So superactionstuff.com. Check them out if you're still in the market for holiday stuff. And then I also got, since we're talking third party,
Nice. A Krampus.
yes, the Krampus from the Naughty or Nice line. So these were
And a Santa
pre-ordered
Claus.
last year and
I
they
remember
finally
that.
shipped. So Fresh Monkey Fiction is this company. Uh, Very, very fun. I'm looking forward to opening these up, but there's a lot of great third-party stuff going on right now. So people should definitely be on the lookout for future Figure Friday columns with some of that stuff.
And I do have a dishonorable mention.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Goes to Walmart for
Oh.
just straight up finding Cosmos. It's been like 3 months now. I have not been able to find a Cosmos. And I'm torn on it because it's Hasbro. They're going to reuse the mold. They're going to reissue the figure in maybe a slightly different color scheme or with different accessories. But it is just insane. I'm not paying 3 times the sticker price for the figure just to get it in my collection. And I know they're going to reissue it eventually because that's what they do with every Transformer. If they can repaint it and put it out under something different, they will. But I got so disheartened being able to being out looking for it and not being able to find the damn thing. And also the other thing about Walmart is the inconsistent pricing. Like, just I think you got into it with one of their associates about stuff being on clearance. The McFarlane Superpowers line that they put out, some of those figures like the Green Lantern and Flash run clearance before I even ever saw them here, which was just again, like, it's a $10 figure, so I'm not gonna make a fuss about it. But seeing people pick them up for like pennies on the dollar was just driving me nuts. So I don't know what they're doing over there.
Walmart is a company that is going. I don't understand some of the business decisions. So we signed up for that Walmart Plus because
Okay.
they ran a discount over Black Friday where it was like $50 for a year of Walmart Plus. And that gives you essentially, it's similar to like Amazon Prime. You get free shipping from Walmart. So where you normally have to have the $35 order minimum, they waive that now as being part of Walmart Plus. And you also get like Paramount Plus streaming service. So I'm like, okay, between the two, you can have my $50 for the year. We ordered a grocery order because if you were doing like $35 minimum for grocery orders, they would still deliver it. We ordered like a $200 grocery order, and as opposed to everything coming as one grocery delivery, we got things over the course of like 10 days.
Wow.
Where it was like somebody drove one bottle of salad dressing to my house. It's the most gross, disgusting. It like we're in a world of global warming and we're talking about carbon footprints, and Walmart Plus has to be the most cost deficient plan that they have to offer. I don't get it. It's mind boggling.
I don't like giving Walmart money at all generally.
Yeah.
Like, I will, if I can find it somewhere else, I will. It doesn't matter that their prices are going to be $13.97 as opposed to $13.99 at another place. Like, the 2 pennies don't mean that much to me. But it's just gross business practices and the stocking. Like, I'm pretty sure like the one that's closest to where I live, they have a toy collector that's running their toy department because I never see anything new on the shelves there. So
yeah.
Thought I had another dishonorable mention, but I don't know. We can move on to the next segment, which
Don't
is
you think those Cosmos are going to just pop up one day at some TJ Maxx and they're going to have like a case and there's going to be 500 Cosmoses just in one random TJ Maxx and buttfuck somewhere, like just awful.
If I was a richer man, like over in Malaysia, where it's not like a retailer exclusive, somebody posted a photo on one of the forums, it was just nothing but Cosmoses at one of their Toys R Us's over there. So
it's
if
ridiculous.
You could have a nice little cottage industry for yourself if you were just living in Malaysia and just buy a bunch of those, jack the price up to whatever the market is right now, and ship them over to the US.
Cottage industry, love it.
Yeah. So Looks like next segment up is top 3 figures you're looking forward to in 2023. You want to kick us off?
Creature from the Black Lagoon from NECA.
Okay.
So I have been waiting anxiously for the Creature from the Black Lagoon ever since the Universal Monsters line came out. I was dipping my toe in NECA at the time, and I had always heard the horror stories about NECA. I had my own frustrations with their Gremlins line, but the Universal Monsters line has been nothing but fabulous. I've been collecting the black and white versions. I do plan on getting both the color version and the black and white of the Creature. It looks phenomenal. Everything I want out of a figure. And shout out to Jada Toys, who also is putting out awesome looking figures in the coming years as well. They also did their Creature from the Black Lagoon last year, which was one of my favorites. So
I was going to say, for my choice, I actually have a fourth that just popped into my head right now when you mentioned
okay,
Jada Toys, because they're going to
yeah,
be finally doing a Boo Berry from their Cereal Monsters line. So looking forward to that. But
yeah,
my number 3 choice is, again, Mafex. They have a Jim Lee Nightwing from the Hush storyline, which looks amazing. Probably, like, again, a definitive version of the figure.
yeah.
Like, I had a DC direct version of the figure that was not postable at all. Like, the sculpt was awesome, but you couldn't do anything with it. But this is got the insane articulation, all sorts of accessories, and really looking like it was supposed to it's in 2023 as a technicality because it was supposed to ship this month, but I got a update from Amazon Japan that it won't be shipping till February or March.
So that is one of those figures where I wish I could get like a steel box treatment. How I got the Wolverine, I would
Mhm.
take a Hush Batman with like the gargoyle head base for him to stand on. Give me that, and then give me a matching Superman Hush from Jim Lee where he's got the alternate head. Remember how they got those two comic book dueling covers from that 600 run or whatever it was,
Mhm.
from the run of Hush? Oh, phenomenal.
Yeah, Mafex did a Batman from that storyline that both
Hmm.
versions are out of production right now. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if they brought it back, but, like, opening the door with Nightwing right now, I'm like, well, I have to get a Batman to go with it. And I'm going to have to get, whatever else. I hope they put out like a Tim Drake Robin that is done in the Jim Lee style, because while I don't like the MCU stuff that Mafex does, like the comic book stuff that they do is
Hmm.
the sculpts are all fantastic. It looks just like I got the Azrael Batman from Mafex this year. It didn't make wasn't anywhere near my top 5, but it looks just like Jim Aparo had penciled them. It's insane.
Yeah.
So that's my number 3.
Love it. My
So
number 2 is going to have to be talking about our friends over at Jada Toys. I want to see that Street Fighter line that they've got coming.
okay.
So I have been itching for a good quality 6-inch Street Fighter line for a long time, and Storm looks like they have tremendous figures, but that is a pricey rabbit hole to go down. So
Mhm.
I would love to get something a little bit more budget friendly. Uh, Jada has been doing a great job with all of the figure lines that they've been putting out, and I think that you're starting to see like them starting to further that development. So yeah, we had to buy things like the cereal monsters, and they weren't always the best quality. They were good, but we saw potential, and I think that they've learned from every single line that they've done, and they're only improving. The Universal Monster figures that they've got coming out, like that Invisible Man with the the hand attachment where he's pulling the glove off and there's
Yep.
nothing there. I love little innovations like that in figures because, to your point about like third parties broadening the market, Marvel Hasbro is just going to rip stuff like that off. We saw things like that out of Mattel where they've got the Mega Powers handshake with Macho Man and Hogan. Like, I love thinking about your toys that are currently on your shelves in a new way and exploring paths of creativity down that. So, Jada Toys and their Street Fighter figures look phenomenal. I'm really excited to see those.
Yeah, and like you said, you've been waiting a long time, because I think we both remember the terrible GI Joe Street Fighter
Yes.
figures from the mid '90s
Yeah.
that just were awful on all fronts.
Yeah. The Jean-Claude Van Damme Street Fighter movie days, and
Hmm.
yeah, not looking forward to having a Raul Julia M. Bison, despite the quality of his performance.
Rest in peace.
Absolutely.
All right. So my number one, kind of surprising, but and also I hate a lot of what comes with this figure. They are doing a Return of the Jedi retro collection, Jedi Luke Skywalker 40th anniversary or 40th anniversary figure.
Yay.
Which, yeah, it's just like, hey, I remember seeing that in the theater,
Hmm.
during its original run. But the fact that they're putting this out on a retro card, like I pre-ordered one like as soon as it was available. Just I love everything about it. Like it's gonna look great on my shelf. If I see him at retail, maybe I'll buy a second one to open and mess around with. I hope they do a variant where he comes with a blue lightsaber or a green lightsaber. It's just it really, hit me right in the nostalgia.
Yeah, that's awesome. See, and for me, like that won't even be a blip on my radar. So this is why I don't understand how people can sit around and just complain about things. Like spend more time on the things that you love collecting. And uh while I'm not the biggest fan of that line, and I think that sometimes their creativity can be less than inspired, when they get it right, man, it's magic, and it just makes you wish that there was more magic across all of their figure line properties from the Star Wars brand. So
Yeah, and like we talked about before with collecting, a lot of it is just wish fulfillment. Like that
yeah.
figure of Luke Skywalker is, probably been gone from my possession for like 30 years now,
Hmm.
and I don't really want to buy like a dirty one with all sorts of worn off paint from a flea market. I don't want to
Yeah.
pay prices for a vintage one. So this kind of hits all the quadrants of what I'm looking for in a figure. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. People hate themselves retro and vintage collection right now for a lot of the reasons that you just sung the praises. So
Yeah, we
gotta
can't.
love it.
Yeah, I was gonna say we can't all afford to, just go out and buy vintage figures, but if that's your jam, more power to you.
Though this industry is starting to price themselves out to where vintage is becoming just as affordable as collecting modern with, some of the retail prices.
Also true. Also
Yeah.
true. So you got one more?
My number one, I alluded to it, the Hiss tank. I can't
Oh,
wait to get my hands on it. I've been a huge fan. Like the Hiss tank was my favorite GI Joe vehicle. When they released this thing, they demonstrated how to effectively run a HasLab campaign. They broke the records, and then they ended up getting surpassed, I think, with what the recent one of the recent HasLabs that just wrapped up. I think the Transformers one might have eclipsed it in terms of number of units sold, but
mm,
that Hiss tank looks fabulous. So much creativity. It'll be nice to get a vehicle in the classified line, big enough for a couple things. I don't know if you saw that Batmo Beast.
it did.
Uh, so that popped up on Walmart for $25 versus the $100 retail. So I grabbed that. I'm excited to check that out, and I'm looking forward to hopefully having a nice Hiss tank versus Batmo Beast battle in the backyard this summer.
You're gonna need to get like a legitimate photo studio so you can actually photograph all this stuff.
Absolutely.
HasLab is it's still like I haven't backed any of their campaigns. It's a strange beast to me. Like the stuff
Mm,
that you think would be a slam dunk,
yeah.
like the Ghost Rider thing, like with
Yeah.
the car. Like I thought that was going to go for it, and what I don't get is that people that collectors I see online are so negative about stuff that they don't like, which it's toys. Like I'm not
Yeah.
finger wagging at I get enjoyment from the same things that these people get enjoyment from in terms of collecting action figures, but
Yeah.
it's just they're a notch below. Like I'm gonna find this guy's family. I'm gonna take him out because this I hate this HasLab campaign so much,
Yeah.
which is it just blows my mind. Like I don't get how if you're terminally online, maybe that makes sense to you, but like it was a nice campaign and like something else didn't. It was the Rancor last year that didn't make it right,
Yep.
but like they've done a couple of a few Transformers ones. They're all just cost prohibitive for me. Like I couldn't
Okay.
you know couldn't justify half a mortgage payment to buy a Unicron.
Hmm.
So but yeah, it's the people that love it really love it, and the people that hate it, just hate it with a passion. And I'm somewhere in the middle. Like I have no use for this thing. It's just, you know, I'm fascinated by it. I'm always interested in watching, the stretch goals that get unlocked. Like I think in
Mhm.
the background, is that the HasLab Galactus that you got back
It
there?
is, yes.
Yeah. Which I should have backed the HasLab Sentinel because I, lost my Marvel Legends build a figure Sentinel a number of years ago, but
Mhm.
it's just kind of it's not for me. I kind of wish it was, but at the same point I can't justify the expense most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, I've looked at the HasLabs as more an investment piece
Hmm.
since, they don't really depreciate. So worst case scenario, you get your money back on the secondary market.
Right.
Um, then again, the shipping costs associated with these things, I can't imagine are very friendly, collector friendly. So I imagine it'll be a lot of like local pickups and things like that when
Right.
you decide you want to part ways with these. Uh, but that's a discussion for another day down the road. You're collecting, you're kicking this problem to future you to have to solve. I look at them as if it's an item that I really want to get in my collection, I get frustrated when I don't see them putting out the effort that I think they should in order to make this thing become a reality. So like the Engines of Vengeance, it was great. It looked awesome. I think they outpriced themselves and they didn't anticipate, uh, a certain subset of the collecting community that would just come out and advocate against something and actively try to get something to fail as opposed to just trying to, look at something apathetically and not really paying it much mind. So that was really surprising to me. But I mean, Hasbro's $1 billion corporation. I'm not going to lose any sleep when they're not able to make more money.
Yeah. So we've got time left for a couple of final questions. How are you collecting in 2023 and health of the industry slash current trends? For 2023, still pre-ordering. Like that's you get out there and you pound the pavement a lot more than I do. Like
Hmm.
I found the wheelie from the Transformers, core class just purely by accident. Pre-ordering is always going to be my safety net. If I can find something on the pegs or you find it for me, that's great. Uh, that's how I treat pre-orders right now. Or if it's something that is I'm going to have to import, I'll try ordering it from overseas so I can get a better price. But that's always going to be my safety net.
Yeah, for me, I think I'm pretty much done with pre-ordering. I
Really?
think that of the lines that I collect, unless it's something like one of the higher end items that I don't think is going to stick around, but to like the higher end, like the premium format figures, to their credit, they're pretty good about making stock available.
Hmm.
Or if you're not on the first initial wave, a lot of times they'll open up more once the product actually hits US shores. So I'm comfortable that I don't really need to have that safety net. Additionally, it's so priced to the point now, the items that I'm collecting, I'm not interested in paying that initial pre-order price.
Right.
Like I'll wait till I find a sale. I'll wait till a good Black Friday sale. Even the wrestling figures that I was collecting, I think that we're really on the precipice of like the next big bubble in the market. I think there's really going to be a lot of problems after all this inventory sits on shelves, and they're going to have to clearance out a lot of things. I think you're going to start seeing more of those days where there was nothing on store shelves and you're going to have to go back to pre-ordering or else you're never going to see it, because I think the inventories in stores are going to get cut significantly in the near future.
And looking at my list here, I realized I completely blew over the second anticipated figure with for 2023,
Oh,
which, is the SH Fig Arts Spider-Man from
ah,
No Way Home, the Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire ones. I pre-ordered both of those. Still, as of this recording, they are still not up on Amazon Japan for pre-order. So I've got pre-orders with Amazon and pre-orders with Big Bad Toy Store. Whoever gets it first is gonna win. But
exciting times when you get to watch the uh, the retail partners see who's going to get it first.
yeah, right. And Also, Amazon has been pretty infamous lately for canceling pre-orders on people.
Mm,
So it's a safety net with a safety net on that one. So,
yeah.
and then you were kind of alluding to health of the industry and current trends. Like with the wrestling figures, I've been seeing more and more of those at the wholesale place, Ollie's Outlet.
Hmm.
Um, Windowless packaging, I get why they're doing it. I'm not necessarily a fan of it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. That's the way the industry is going right now.
I
And
I just get so weirded out by people who take this stance of like, I'm never going to collect again because I can't see my figures, and like, just open the box.
yeah, settle down. It's just kind of like, I don't know. And also the gap between like cost and quality,
Hmm.
like something that completely flew under my radar that we talked about, I think this time last year was the 40th anniversary of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. The
Hmm.
cartoon just rolled around, and Hasbro Pulse did a 3-pack,
Yep.
which I completely missed it. I saw it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And the box looks cool, but I've been seeing like quality issues with like the paint apps on the figure. And then it's like $75 for
Hmm.
3 figures, which, I'm willing to spend that on a single figure, but for 3 figures, I'm not feeling it.
So that's like the great thing about that figure was that Iceman. People had been needing to get that Iceman back in the line for a while, and what
Hmm.
did they do? They put cell shading on it. So I just immediately looked at it and I'm like, yeah, not for me. Not to
Yeah.
mention, I've already got a Firestar on my shelf. I've already got a retro Spidey in my collection, and I have the original Iceman. So unless they want to throw me a bone and give me that for like some ridiculous like $30 price tag or something, I could pass on that all day long.
Yeah. And I bought that Iceman from the Marvel Legends
Hmm.
X-Men retro line for $5 on
Yeah,
clearance at GameStop.
yeah.
And like, beyond just kind of having the box for display purposes, like it's not doing much for me. Like, I know I said I wanted it a lot, but now that it's here, I'm kind of like, nah, I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good. All right. So I think we're at time for this episode.
All right.
Any closing thoughts?
No, I mean it's been a great year to be a collector. I'm looking forward to like trimming back and not buying as much in 2023. Again, going more quality over quantity, and then just going crazy when it comes to stocking up on like Black Friday sales and things like that. So uh, I'm looking forward to having a lot of fun for Christmas morning and trying to recapture some of that joy and not opening things for like the last probably 3 months and saving it for anticipation of Christmas morning has been a lot of fun. So uh, look for like ways to connect and find joy in your collection in other ways. You don't always have to buy everything that comes out, but
Yeah.
going
Like,
that quality over quantity route, I think, is going to shift my focus in 2023.
yeah, I'm reorganizing one of my shelves right now with a bunch of stuff that I had in storage. So I definitely, you know, that's bringing me joy presently.
Yes.
So,
That's the
so
best when you get to reconnect with your collection that you haven't seen in a while. Yeah, I
yeah,
love
because
it.
I've got so many like fig arts that are just in storage at the moment that I took out and have been messing around with, and it's a lot of fun. They're great figures.
Play with your toys, people.
Damn right. So thanks for listening, everybody. We will be back on the same feed next week, and that's all I've got to say for right now. Thanks for listening, everybody.
All right. Biff Bam Pop out.
.com.